and Dave are on the lam, not a scam. Grab your cam, could be in a traffic jam or maybe in Siam. Bill and Dave are hiding out, what's their route? Won't give out, searching Brussels for a sprout. They rarely mill a bone. Bill and Dave are on the lam, on a tram in Rotterdam. Don't you forward them, you spam, they're clearly on the lam.
Hey,
Yay!
it's on the lam. The special Key West story arc. This is episode 7 of that. And at least I think, unless I doubled up somewhere in there, I will correct it in the naming of the episode. But later on, that's when it's posted. God only knows when it'll be posted. We're recording a lot of these shows down here. But this is... well, I'd call it an undisclosed beach, but we can disclose it.
We can disclose it because we're in Zachary Taylor State Park.
Yeah, that's on the southern tip of Key West.
Mm-hmm. And today, it kind of encompasses. It's a real unusual area. As you heard me say when we were coming in here, because we kind of scoped it out before, it's the most unusual entrance to a state park I've ever seen, because you go through all this like Coast Guard. This used to be a big military. There was a
naval
big
base.
military presence down here, especially in the 60s, and now of course that's down from what it was, but it's still there. And they have all these Coast Guard cutters sitting around and military areas where you can't go in, and you kind of wind your way through these roads, and you end up at this beach.
Old, yeah. Well, first you wind up at the fort.
At the Fort Zachary Taylor, which we visited today.
And that is one bleak.
It's
To be stationed in maybe it looked better in the day. Maybe they had it all fixed up with the latest designer furniture, but I doubt it.
It was
shaped like a half of a hexagon.
Half of a hexagon.
Yeah, you noticed that on the map.
And it used to be connected to the land by a causeway, because it used to be was built out on a shoal, on a coral shoal, offshore. And you used to have to go in through a causeway, but the land has all been filled in now. So it's got part of its moat, like it's little.
Yeah, there's a little remnant of the moat there.
But, and then they started building it in like 1821 or something, and it was finished in all these dates. I'm getting so many dates lately but it's in the early 1800s they started building it. And
Marge's trying to put her earrings on while she's talking. I just wanted to describe that.
Yeah, my
a little color.
Earrings are kind of messy.
Color description.
I think my earrings got saltwater crust on them or something. But anyway, so the fort it's never been attacked. It was always
these Keys forts don't seem to have been attacked. Yeah, it's always
after the War of 1812, the government started having these forts built around the sea and the lakes and stuff like that to guard our borders.
Fort Jefferson out on the Dry Tortugas is like that.
And it was used, during the Civil War to keep, people from supplying guns and stuff to the South. And,
right. It was a blockade kind of.
It was a blockade fort, like Fort Jefferson was.
Yeah, and apparently the South had no intention of messing with it.
Not this one, anyway. They
no, that's right. They kind of
they tried with Fort Jefferson, but they didn't get. In fact, the story, maybe I even said that on the other podcast.
You can repeat it.
Is that because I don't, that podcast, we were so
we were brain dead.
Stroked, that when Fort Jefferson it always was in Union hands, of course, and then when Florida seceded from the Union, shortly after that, the Union troops stayed at Fort Jefferson, and shortly after that, a Southern warship sailed up and demanded the fort be surrendered, and the general in charge said no, they weren't going to surrender and get out of the water, get out of the vicinity before they blew them up. And they turned out it was a bluff because they had their guns but no ammo had come down had been supplied.
Soldiers out at the thing.
So that was it. Then
prisoners.
Fort Jefferson just kind of sat there, and this fort was just it was just ready in case anything happened. And I guess it had more had up to 450 soldiers. It was fairly, I mean, compared to Fort Jefferson, it was small.
Yeah.
It's small. You can walk all around inside it, and
oh yeah, well that's a very good description, Marge. That it was hot today.
it was hot. We did go up on
It's always hot in
on the
Key West.
wall so we could see out over the ocean, which was really neat. And the fort used to be 2 stories higher.
That's
But
right. They
took the
disassembled
top
it.
2 stories off at some point because they didn't really need them anymore. So now it sits much lower. But it's the typical, fort of that time. It has the bastions that come off the ends, and
And those windows. What did you call them? Causeway?
I think they're called casemate windows.
Casemate windows.
And I think they're for the cannons to fire
I
out of.
love
think.
casemate in my coffee.
Yeah.
But sorry, listener. You've come to expect that of me, I think.
And we got to see a lot of the guns. And
Yeah, there were a lot of guns in this one. The guns were all gone out of Fort Jefferson, but
there had guns
this place
here.
had. Well, I guess there was like one gun.
And it was spooky.
So-
Well, there were several guns.
No. I meant at Fort Jefferson.
Oh yeah,
there
I
was
guess
one
I
gun.
think there was one on the grounds.
But this place was ready to go, man, and it had piles of cannonballs, and it's, in case we were attacked, we could have loaded that thing up. And these cannonballs,
yeah, they were.
I mean, if
was
one
some-
of
they
these
were some
things, you
big-
imagine, you see in movies and cartoons and ridiculous depictions of a cannonball being fired.
And these were some big cannonballs.
I mean,
yeah.
these were, imagine like 3 times the size of a bowling ball. 3 times the size. These things were huge. I don't know how. They must have had certain kind of dollies and trolleys and things to,
I can't imagine how
to
anybody
lift them
ever
up
lifted them.
with levers to get them into the cannon. Because no human could lift one of them. And I'm just going to go out and say this, maybe like one of these weightlifting guys from the Ukraine that could like go and then lift the thing up. He might, in some kind of competition, maybe some technically human
Yeah, but
person
he really shouldn't.
could lift it. Yeah, but there were piles of these things. So that was an interesting part of it.
Yeah.
Let's back up a little bit since our last episode. We did that on the waterfront last time. And this episode, we're also on the water, but this time we're at a beach. But we started out the day going to the Little White House tour where Harry Truman, they called it Truman House, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a Little White House because it was a White House away from the White House down in Key West for Harry Truman specifically.
And it's been used by several presidents, although it was never intended to be that. It was really for naval officers.
Right, that's why the structure
because
was
there was the
originally
Navy
built.
was down here, and we found out it was, it's interesting to know that, or to think back when I was down here with my parents, this place was going pretty much to hell in a handbasket down here. 'Cause
Yeah, that's hard
the
to believe,
Vietnam
but-
War was over in 74, and I think we were down here in probably 73, 72. The Vietnam War was over. Nothing was going on in Cuba very much, and they just pulled. They just pulled all the military out,
And
so
the military was running the economy
they
down
were
here.
patronizing the stores and everything, the bars and whatnot, and so it
Things
pretty
just
much
fell apart.
But now tourism has filled in the gaps, and they're back. They're up and running again. But this housing for this Little White House, and all this housing that used to be for naval officers was just sold.
Yeah, and they had all these buildings. And
Now
then
now it's residences, but this one couple stepped in and bought the Little White House for $250,000,
That's right.
and then they gave it to the state of Florida.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
We took a nice tour, and it was a really good tour guide we had. His name was Bruce,
something.
and an older fella. He could have been a retired actor.
Actually,
was very
I
good public
heard him
speaking.
telling one of the ladies that he'd been in the military himself.
Oh, I
at one
see.
time. But
Well, he was very good at speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of public speakers, and
Yeah, he was good.
He had a very nice, very easy technique. Kept it moving along. He didn't repeat himself.
No.
He had us watch a little movie, and the second the movie was over, he goes, "All right, step into this other bed,
there was no downtime
Best
at all.
Truman's bedroom." And yeah. No, I mean, he kept it moving.
everybody
and
moving.
Interesting. You have a little sip of Coke Zero there. This episode sponsored by Coke Zero.
So anyway, Truman spent 175 days of his
Presidency.
his
6
almost
years.
yeah 6 years. So it was actually a little bit more than that, more like 7 something.
Yeah, it
because
was closer to
Roosevelt
7
died
years,
very
yeah.
soon after he was reelected.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he really liked it and came down for a lot of working vacations. A lot of other presidents have used it, but before Truman too, like I said, Taft used it
Yeah.
because it was always a government
Right.
building, and if they wanted to check things out, they'd come down and stay.
Right. It really kind of became Harry Truman's White House away from the White House.
And what I found really cool was the fact that after Truman moved out, they just kind of dismantled the house in
Yeah.
1947 or
Yeah,
49.
yeah, they took out
49.
all the stuff and
took out all the
packed
stuff,
it up.
but it was warehoused, and they were able to find all of his
They said
stuff.
90% of the furniture
90%
was
of the
brought back.
stuff was brought back.
Yeah, and
So
that's wonderful.
it looks like it did in 1949.
One of Harry Truman's pianos is even in there. I mean, they have his original poker table.
Yeah.
Beautiful
Yeah.
poker table. Oh my God! And he described how Harry Truman liked to play poker, but Bess didn't. So he would have like the admirals and guys from the press.
Yeah.
They'd play at poker, and then when Bess was coming down, and she only came like
4 times.
Four times. They had a tabletop put on there and a little tea service put out so she could entertain. And
And she didn't have to see the poker
yeah,
slots or anything.
poker bothered her. She was his childhood sweetheart.
Yeah, they met in Sunday school.
Yeah. So she took the Sunday school teachings a little more seriously than Harry did, I guess. But so I mean, that was a great way to
That
start
was
the day.
yeah, I would recommend that tour. Highly recommend that
It
tour.
was fantastic. Then we thought we'd check out this place, the Zachary Taylor State Park, Fort Zachary Taylor State Park, because we wanted to get a look at the beach. We thought about coming to the beach. We've been wanting to go to a beach and spend some time, but we wanted to see how it works. So we thought what we'd do is we would tour the fort that is adjacent to the beach, and then come back later with our swimming stuff. We could use our pass, our daily pass, to get back in. And that is what turned out happening. We're here right now after having swum a little bit.
Yeah, and it's the evening now. It's
Yeah, it's going on 7 o'clock. And sunset will be, actually, there's a very nice sunset, I guess, from this beach.
and right after that, everybody's got to get out. They close.
Yeah,
they
close.
close down after sunset.
Close after sunset, that would be 7:59 tonight. But we'll be out of here before then. I don't know where we'll see the sunset. I don't know if we'll see it here or not. But
they have a lovely concession stand here where we had dinner.
A lot of food.
Just, of course, sandwiches, but a lot of different stuff and drinks. And
it isn't just burgers and bags of chips
No,
like we're used to.
I had an egg salad wrap, which was really good.
I couldn't believe that you had that egg
It
salad
was
wrap.
really good.
I thought, what kind of funky egg salad is
I
this
was
gonna be?
I love egg salad, and I was a little scared to ask for it, but I thought, I'm just going to, it was nice and cold, really good.
It had peanut butter and jelly, which doesn't sound like a big deal. That's a big... We had it on the ship, too. Peanut butter and jelly is a kind of a staple down here, and I'm a big peanut butter and jelly fan, so I had a delicious, huge peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a banana.
Yeah, and they have ice cream. They have, like I said, smoothies, tropical drinks,
You can get beer. You have to drink the beer
on the porch.
on porch,
Yeah,
but
drink it on the porch. But we thought maybe we would have lunch here.